Welcome back, everybody. This is QuestionMarc.
And I'm Ame. Oh, yeah.
And we are in for... Oh, we're in for a big one. This is the Marvel Superheroes main set, and we're going to be ranking every commander you can possibly build out of it on a tier list.
How far are we going to get before we have to stop for a break? Who knows?
Who knows? There's 128 in the main set alone. Not to mention the 4 commander decks and the Jumpstart set, which have like 200 more. So, we'll get through as much as we can, and we're ranking them on these tiers, where the top tier is My Hero, and those are reserved for ones that are not just good, but special to us. You know, that spark joy in some particular way. Then there's Super, which are the ones that we think are great, that are good commanders, you'd be proud to build, strong, that kind of thing. Wild Card are going to be ones that we think are...
Could work, but need some extra support.
Yeah, that they, like, need... yeah, exactly, need some support. And Sidekick are ones that are better in the 99, that are better as supporting cast than main characters. And Rejects are the ones that don't really have a place in your commander deck. And to be fair, we are looking now at the standard legal set. So every one of these cards being legal in standard means that they're not designed with commander in mind primarily. So, and a lot of these are also going to be uncommon, and I think even a few of them are going to be common. So some of these... they aren't really intended to be that good as commanders, and I'm sure that we'll find a handful.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. But since Commander is the most popular form of Magic to play right now, they also have to have designed at least some of these with an eye towards Commander.
Yeah, I'm sure that there was always a balance to be struck. And, you know, I think, though, we'll go ahead and just start things off at this point with Abomination Terrifying Titan.
Hawkeye is going to need the best reflexes ever to do anything about that. Otherwise, he's just going to get creamed.
As an adult, getting creamed doesn't mean what it used to mean.
You know what I meant.
Stop me? Puny fools, stop me how?
And Hawkeye's like, I don't know.
Houston, I need air support. Alright, what does he do?
Well, for 3 mana and either a red or a green, you get a 4/4 Gamma Villain with Trample. And he also has an effect called Power Up, which costs 5 mana plus 2 either red or green. And for that, you can put a +1/+1 counter on Abomination. He fights up to 1 target creature an opponent controls. Activate each Power Up ability only once. Reduce the cost of his mana if he has entered this turn.
Okay.
Reduce the cost by his mana cost. So in that case, you'd only be paying 2 mana and 1 red or green.
Right. So, so one way that I've been trying to think of the power-up creatures is that basically it costs either 4 mana or 7 mana. So in the late game, if you play this for 7 mana, then he'll enter and then be able to immediately power up. So you don't have to really worry too much about the, like, subtraction, as long as you just look at, okay, the lower cost is how much I have to pay if I can do it all at once. And...
this kind of kicks him out of Commander for me, because aside from Trample, the power-up is his effect. So I'm guessing that you would want to either... power him up at some point, but most likely you'd want to power him up right away, which makes his cost functionally a lot higher.
Yeah, so, I mean, basically he's a 7-mana 5/5 trampler that enters and fights somebody. And is that good? I don't think it is.
I don't think so either.
This guy seems like he's alright in draft. And actually probably pretty sick in draft, considering that fight spells are a way of getting removal in green. So this guy's probably great in draft or sealed or something, but he's not really commander material at all. Keeping in mind also that power-up can be done once, and then the only way of doing it again would be if they leave the battlefield and return somehow. So if it is your commander, you could replay it, but then you're having to pay the commander tax on top of that. which is not very good. Oh, and the power-up mechanic, the only way that it is different from exhaust, and we're going to see power-up quite a bit, so I'm going to do hopefully a quick search here for exhaust, which is a mechanic from Aether Drift about a year and a half ago.
Ew, exhaust.
Exhaust. Yeah, honestly, good flavor though for the racing set, but this one says you activate exhaust ability only once, and so this is the same, except that you reduce the cost if they just entered, and they pretty much always put a +1/+1 counter on them, so that I think you remember that you did the ability already.
Oh, that's actually a decent feature right there.
Yeah.
We like it when we can remember things.
Although I have seen at least one that puts 2 +1/+1 counters, and also a lot of them just growing by 1 is just not significant enough to really matter. It's also very similar to the monstrous ability from Theros. Well, yeah, like this guy, or Monstrosity. So this guy is an 8-mana 10/10 Defender Indestructible, but Defender, of course. But if you pay 10, you put 10 +1/+1 counters on him, he becomes monstrous, and then it basically loses Defender. But the point is that you can pay this ability basically once, because if it isn't monstrous, it becomes monstrous, and you can remember it because you put a bunch of counters on it.
Now that we've looked at two comparable abilities, where do you think this guy goes?
Probably reject.
Yeah.
I don't think he even deserves to be in the 99. Even if you're doing like a Gamma villain deck, it probably still isn't worth playing. I'm not sure what synergies there are between Gamma and villains are mostly red-black, red-blue, blue-black, that kind of thing. So, we're going to move on to Absorbing Man, which I think is more interesting. Tell me what he does.
For 1 mana, a green, and a blue, you get a 4/4 human villain with
Willigence.
with Vigilance. Oh my god.
He lives in villages.
Vigilance.
Yeah, that one actually. Okay.
At the beginning of your first I'm sorry, that was so dumb.
At the beginning of your first main phase, until your next turn, Absorbing Man becomes a copy of up to one target artifact, non-aura enchantment, or land, except his name is Absorbing Man. I almost botched it too. I think I did like Asborbing Man or something. Asborbing Man.
Absorbing Man.
He's a legendary 4/4 human villain creature in addition to his other types, and he has Vigilance.
Did you do that on purpose?
Yes.
Oh.
It reminds me of a lot of people say like Menace when they're talking about menace. Or I've seen creatures with flying and trample referred to as flample. I like that. Okay, so 3 mana 4/4 with Vigilance. How are we doing on the vanilla test?
We are passing the vanilla test with flying colors today. That's only 3 mana for a 4/4, and we got a keyword there, so we're good.
Yeah, if you're new to this, and you might be, this would be a good video to start with on my like command analysis videos. The vanilla test is a good way to determine if this creature is worth its cost in terms of its size, its body for combat purposes. And usually the metric is the mana value, power, and toughness need to average the same number. So 3 mana 3/3 is a good starting point. This is a 3 mana 4/4 with 2 upsides on it, and that's great. Now, that's just kind of baseline though. Also, commanders are often handicapped by having just one color, so having 2 colors is great. So we got some of the good standard stuff to make a decent commander, but it's that ability that is going to be make or break here. So at the beginning of your first main phase and until your next turn, he becomes a copy of an artifact, a non-aura enchantment, or land. Okay, so I know flavorfully where they get this from.
It's right there in the art too. He's getting smacked with Mjolnir, but his arm is turning into Mjolnir.
Yeah. Did you see the original Hulk movie
No.
starring Eric Bana? Oh, okay.
Actually, I
And
might
Nick
have, but
Nolte?
I didn't see it all the way through because I wasn't
Okay.
very interested. I'm sorry, Hulk is not one of my favorites. No hate to him, he just ain't mine.
Well, in that movie, his dad becomes Absorbing Man, where whatever he touches, like, becomes part of his body. So he'd, like, put a hand on some concrete and now his arm is concrete. Or another hand on, like, an iron bar and now his arm is made of iron. So I get that that is the flavor here. So, but honestly, I'm having trouble figuring out what to do with him. I think it could be very powerful, though. It's just, okay, if he becomes a copy of something, he could become a copy of, like, an artifact creature. He could become a copy of, like, Roaming Throne. He could become a copy of, honestly, I think that this one might be a good one to really brainstorm for a long time. Because there are so many things. There's so many non-aura enchantments. There's so many artifacts. There's so many lands that he could become a copy of. I couldn't possibly wrap my whole head around it. I'd have to be researching for a long time. So I'll tell you what I'm going to do with this guy. I'm going to put him up in Wildcard. And he's probably going to stay at the top of Wildcard. Because it seems like he's got potential.
Seems like he has potentially explosive potential.
Yeah, because honestly, this guy probably can earn the a placement in Super, but I just don't know all what he's going to do.
Honestly, I think that given that he has so many options to choose from, that there is that much of a variety, I think that should bump him to super.
Okay, I feel like I need to come up with at least one thing that would be really strong for him to have for that to work. It can be any enchantment.
What's that one indestructible beetle?
Oh, I mean, there are a couple of. There's an aura that makes a creature into an indestructible beetle, but
Maybe that's what I'm thinking of.
yeah, so that wouldn't quite work. Um, I don't know why the first thing that I thought of is Priest of Titania, where it taps for mana equal to the number of elves on the battlefield, and then it can become a copy of it, and so there's more elves, and they both tap for that much mana, so instead of tapping for one, you have two creatures that each tap for two, so that's four. They go up kind of exponentially from there, but like if you're gonna play this, then you're playing elves in your deck. There's gotta be something. I mean, he can
It seems to
become.
it seems to me that Absorbing Man can fit a wide variety of deck types and themes as long as they're within the blue-green purview.
Human villain. Wait a second. Wait a second. What about three tree city? Okay, he can become. Wait, three tree city's legendary. If he becomes a copy of it, then the
The
original
legendary rule applies.
dies unless no. Except his name is Absorbing Man. Okay, because the legend rule is if you control two or more permanents with that are legendary with the same name.
Right.
So he's still named Absorbing Man. You can absolutely get a second three tree city for your human deck or your villain deck. Okay.
Honestly, this guy could be absolutely insane, but the trick is do your homework.
Yeah.
And also maybe have a secondary idea for what direction you want the deck to go in, because seems to me Absorbing Man can handle a lot.
Yeah. We could be here all day, and honestly, we need to move on from this. But I think I'm willing to put him in super, even though I know he needs some support. There's so many things that would probably be pretty good with him. Yeah. Not to mention, like, you can ramp into some giant things he could copy, considering you're playing green.
Craterhoof Behemoth comes to mind.
Oh yeah, let's make some extra Craterhoof Behemoths. It is at the beginning of your first main phase, though.
Until your next turn.
So that means it would likely have to be something that you already controlled. So yeah, I don't know.
Unless
But
your
still be
opponent looks
strong.
like they have something good.
Okay, moving on to Agent 13, Sharon Carter.
All right, for 2 mana and a white, you get a 3/2 human spy hero. Whenever a creature you control attacks alone, investigate, and that's creating a clue token. It's an artifact with 2 mana. Sacrifice this token, draw a card.
And do you remember what she's from?
I know.
Okay. She was featured first in Captain America and the Winter Soldier, where she initially is just Captain America's neighbor, and then it turns out secretly she's a spy for S.H.I.E.L.D.
Of course.
Who's placed to, like, look after him, you know? And she's also the niece of Peggy Carter, who's Captain America's original love. And in Captain America Civil War, they make out.
That's a little gross.
Well, I mean, they're basically the same age at that point. And,
Okay, fair.
you know, and also, what's her name? Black Widow is trying to, like, hook Captain America up with somebody on a date.
Why?
Because
What do you gain from getting other people laid?
she likes playing matchmaker. She's just trying to be a good friend.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, okay. So, on the one hand, the mechanic of a creature attacking alone is generally pretty bad, but there are, you know, some ways to really lean into it. And if I remember right, there is a real theme of that among the spies and like S.H.I.E.L.D. agents in this set. So it's probably not going to come together, but maybe it could. I play a Ryu commander deck where the theme is whenever a samurai or warrior you control attacks alone, you untap it and you get an extra combat. So I do that a lot in this deck.
Unfortunately, our friend Agent 13 is a mono white.
So you could put her in a Ryu deck, but she's not a samurai or a warrior, so she won't get the benefit of Ryu. Ryu will get the benefit of her. And alternatively, any of the cards that are in the Ryu deck aren't going to benefit Agent 13 that much, because either they only care about samurai or some of them are red. But there's a few white ones in there. I'd say one of the better ones is probably Battle, Grace, Angel. Because Exalted is very similar to what we're talking about here. In fact, you want to read this one for us?
Let's see. For 3 mana and 2 white, you get a 4/4 angel with flying and Exalted, and that means whenever a creature you control attacks alone, that creature gets +1/+1 until end of turn. Whenever a creature you control attacks alone, it gains lifelink until end of turn.
Yeah. So, investigating is a roundabout way of drawing cards. And honestly, I just think that she's underwhelming. I'm not sure if she even makes the cut in the 99.
Ouch.
She is a 3-mana 3/2, which fails the vanilla test.
Yep.
She doesn't have any keyword abilities, any kind of offense or defense, really. And she doesn't draw you cards. She draws you cards later if you spend 2 more mana, and that's it. So, while I'm tempted to put her like at the bottom of sidekicks, honestly, I think she's going to go in reject as well. Although we will see some more a creature attacking alone stuff that might make her viable as a support, but still not very good.
So, reject pending further exploration.
Next, we'll check out Agent Maria Hill.
For one white mana, you get a 2/1 human spy hero, so we're passing the vanilla test. Whenever Agent Maria Hill becomes tapped to pay a teamwork cost, put a 1/1 counter on her and draw a card.
Okay, so that's interesting. First off, if we look at Savannah Lions.
Kitties.
Savannah Lions, if you could read that one for us.
All right. 1 white mana, 2/1 cat.
You have read it. All right, great. So this card was originally printed in a little set called Alpha. And it...
Kitty.
Oh gosh, and if you own one from beta, it's worth $650.
Look at those murder mittens.
And for years and years, you'll see here, it was rare. But more recently, they've made it, like...
Uncommon.
Ooh, or even in Dominaria Remastered, common. So how the mighty have fallen, considering that back in the first few years of Magic, a 2 mana 1/1, sorry, a 1 mana 2/2, a 1 mana 2/1 with no drawbacks was pushed.
You do it too.
Yeah, of course I do.
Mine's funnier though.
Perhaps. So, but not so much anymore. And I think one of the best comparisons would be, what's its name? It's the dog with Morrow in the name, I think. No, I'm forgetting the name. Well, there's a dog that's a 1 mana 2/2 legendary creature from Kamigawa block, and it's widely considered like not good enough to play. But okay, so becomes tapped to pay a teamwork cost. I do like that you could, in theory, tap Maria Hill every turn to get a counter on her and draw a card, which, like, first off, giggity. Second off, how much teamwork stuff is really in this set?
That's a good question.
Yeah, let's start by looking at white specifically. Teamwork. Because if she's going to be the commander... there's 3.
3.
Okay, so, the answer is no.
No.
She's
No.
not a good commander, but is she a good sidekick? Maybe. Drawing an extra card and having her grow is pretty good. Plus, teamwork, it does care how much power the creature has. So
Yes,
teamwork
but
2 can be done with Maria Hill by herself.
but
and
we're
then-
only seeing 3 cards, 2 instant, and that which is 2 instants and a sorcery. Do we have that outside of? No, it still it still has to be in white.
Well, I'm saying if she's in the 99 of a deck that wants to do teamwork cards.
Okay.
But, okay, because the sidekick thing.
Right, sidekick. Sorry about that.
Okay, but there's 19 cards that say teamwork on them, and one of them is her. So,
Okay, so we're getting
18
somewhere.
teamwork cards. Next thing is there a good reason to play just all the teamwork cards in a single deck? I actually doubt it. And this one also doesn't have teamwork, so there's one less. Yeah, so it seems like there's 17 teamwork spells that she will draw you a card and get a counter off of. And you can only play all of them if you're playing a 5-color deck. And I don't think that there's a commander that would benefit you to do so.
Is teamwork a new one or?
Oh, it's a brand new mechanic, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Now,
So she might appreciate in value, but for now,
I hope that teamwork comes back in future Marvel sets, because it's not a bad mechanic, but it just hasn't been developed very much right now. So you know
doesn't
what?
got a lot of support.
Honestly, I think I got to put her down all the way into reject because I don't think that the teamwork deck exists.
Not yet, anyway. This may
Yeah.
change.
I mean, there's a couple of like 5-color commanders in this set overall, but they care about other things. So
If teamwork gets more support, then, like I said, she'll probably appreciate in value. But right now, out the gate, not looking good.
I think there is a Nick Fury that cares about heroes, and they're both heroes, so you could do that and do like a shield theme deck. But that is definitely not the most powerful thing you could be doing with Nick Fury. As we move on to Agent Phil Coulson. Now, him you know.
Yes.
Yes.
Of course I know Phil.
He's the guy that definitely canonically died in Avengers, and definitely didn't continue to be the star of his own whole series, regardless. But, what does he do?
For 1 mana and a white, you get a 2/2 human spy hero with vigilance, and we are passing the vanilla test. You can tap him to put a 1/1 counter on each other hero you control.
Now, that's not bad. Now, is he a good commander? No.
No. Sidekick. Very sidekick.
Very sidekick. But you know what? Out of these 3, he's clearly the most viable, considering that there's heroes running all over the place.
Yeah.
There are definitely reasons to play heroes in your deck, or to have a whole hero-themed deck, whereas there kind of isn't for creature attacking alone and teamwork, or at least not very much. So, and then 2 mana 2/2 with vigilance, you could attack with him, and then later tap him at instant speed to put +1 counters on your other heroes. You might not get many opportunities to do so, but you could do it. But as it stands, I
Phil
think
is a
it's
good
pretty
add to
clear.
your deck, but he shouldn't be leading it.
Yeah. Put him in a hero deck that includes white. He's going to be pretty all right. So let's move on, though, to Ant-Man Colony Commander.
From here to accomplish mission, get these ants out of my apartment.
Ah, okay, I would love that mission.
All right, for 1 mana, a blue, and a green, you get a 2/2 human rogue hero. We are not passing the vanilla test today. Whenever Ant-Man attacks, you may pay a mana, and when you do, put a 1/1 counter on target creature. Whenever you
Okay.
put a 1/1 counter on a creature, create a 1/1 green insect creature token. This ability triggers only once each turn. So we get a little more and we get a little bigger.
Okay.
So we're like trying to go a bit wide and tall at the same time.
Okay, you know what? I'm gonna pretty quickly put this guy into wild card, because blue green is a pretty good color combination. There's lots of options for drawing cards and ramping and playing lots of creatures who care about +1/+1 counters. I have a green blue +1/+1 counter deck that is strong even when I cut out most of the strong cards to just focus on mutants. And his first ability is a little lackluster, but it's okay in that you do have a repeatable way of putting +1/+1 counters on creatures and making insect tokens. So it does work built in on his own, but 1 mana every time, and having to attack with Ant-Man himself while he has no flying, skulk, hexproof, whatever,
No keywords.
Yeah, if you're putting the counters on himself, then at that point it's like a 4 mana 3/3, and then a 5 mana 4/4. It's all kind of underwhelming. He needs some support. But doing that, making an insect whenever you put a counter on any creature, in fact, it doesn't even have to be on a creature you control. That'd be a weird thing. You could put a +1/+1 counter on a creature someone else controls and draw a card off of it.
But why would you do that?
Generous Patron comes to mind. Want to read this one for us?
When Generous Patron enters the battlefield, support 2, that's where you put a 1/1 counter on each of up to 2 other target creatures. And when you put 1 or more counters on a creature you don't control, you draw a card. Okay, so that's Generous Patron, but you don't have to do that with Ant-Man.
Yeah, but, you could.
But why would you want to?
People do tend to play Generous Patron in decks that put -1 counters on your opponent's creatures. Be like, I have generously offered you disease and death. Look how generous I am, and I am drawing cards now. But, I mean, honestly, it wouldn't be that crazy to put Generous Patron in your Ant-Man deck. Put a counter on an opponent's creature sometime in order to draw multiple cards, or to draw a card and make an insect. But it makes more sense to put it on your own creatures, of course. And there's a lot of things that will increase this. So the most obvious of which being hardened scales. People play this in tons of green decks. It's just if you would put a +1 counter on a creature you control, you put another one. So you're still pretty much locked into only getting 1 insect per turn, but you can probably find a dozen different ways of triggering this on your opponent's turns in order to get more insects.
What's the name of that one ability that allows you to put more tokens down? Propagate? Doubling season?
Populate increases the number of tokens, and proliferate increases the number of counters.
Oh, well, you should probably put both of those in there.
Yeah, because if you populate, you get another insect. If you proliferate, you put another +1/+1 counter and then make another insect. So actually, just do the proliferate one, because populate is at its best when you have a big token to copy. Copying 1/1s is kind of lame. So,
Also, before we move on, can we get a look at that insect token?
hey!
Hey!
It's on a D6.
And the way they've drawn the head makes me think of the good old classic from, I think it's the 1950s, Them.
Oh, okay, because I'm thinking of the good old classic from the 80s, Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
Oh, yeah.
Where there's giant ants because there's tiny kids and they're playing around inside toys and stuff, little Legos and things.
Those giant ants kind of scared the crap out of me.
Oh, fair. Okay, so yeah, I think that with
The ones in Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, not them.
oh, okay. So yeah, I think Ant-Man actually is okay. He's not going to be, impressing many people, but if you really like him, you could do it. Just with a little help. Oh, and lastly, that can is Roxxon Cola. Roxxon is most famously in the Marvel universe an oil company, so that's kind of gross. Then we have Ares, God of War, which is kind of silly considering that we just got Kratos, God of War.
We really take our gods of war seriously on this planet, don't we?
Yeah, and Eros. Sorry. Eros is the god of victory. The other guys are losers. They fight wars, win or lose. Eros only cares about winning. He keeps on winning.
Anyway, Ares is here posing for a metal album.
Uh-huh.
He looks great, by the way.
Oh, hell yeah.
He's definitely going to be an unlockable skin in the next Doom game or something.
Oh, jeez. I mean, look at those abs. Ares God of War chose to go to battle with a freaking missile launcher, a battle axe,
A crop
mohawk,
top?
and a crop top that seems like it might be made of Kevlar or something up top, but he's like, nah, my abs reflect bullets already. I don't need armor on the rest of me.
Seriously, throw some monsters on this and you have a Doom cover.
Oh, hell yeah. His axe is being struck by lightning.
Yeah.
And he's standing on what, like a giant skull or something?
Maybe, I can't see through the text box.
Dude's a badass.
Yeah,
Alright,
he
what
is.
does he do?
Okay, for 1 mana, a black and a red, you get a 4/3 God Warrior Villain.
Mm-hmm.
We're passing the vanilla test.
Yeah.
Ares attacks each combat if able, because...
Ouch.
Of course he does. Whenever an attacking creature you control dies, return that card to its owner's hand. Let the slaughter begin! Glorious combat forever!
Okay, so a 3-mana 4/3 that has to attack every combat, it's debatable whether that is a drawback or not, because on the one hand, if you're starting off on turn 3 with a 4/3 and then you put something on him, you want to be swinging every turn. What's the point of having Ares, God of War, as your commander if you're not going to be attacking with him every turn, right?
Right, so you're going to need cards that enable that make that a good thing, that make it a great thing. And honestly, Ares is a good start.
Yeah.
If it dies, then it goes back to your hand, and then you can just bring it back.
Yeah, so, okay. I think a few things that we can do here. First off, you want to have things that add to power, but not necessarily to toughness. And you want to have creatures that have a whole lot of power for not a whole lot of mana. So, one of the simplest things is just Bone Splitter.
Bone Plitter.
Yep, there we go. That's exactly what I meant. Just Bone Splitter. Honestly, it's hard to beat this rate of 1 mana to cast, 1 to equip, just adds 2 power. It's a little basic, but it's a decent starting point.
Ares is like, I was wondering where I put that thing.
Or, Blood, what's the Blood Axe? There it is, Bloodforged Battle Axe. This is probably better, honestly. Sure, it costs 2 to equip, but every time that you hit a player, you get a copy of the axe.
Ooh, that's gonna raise you an army of axe-wielding maniacs.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that's what maybe that's what a deck with this as a commander should be called, axe-wielding maniacs.
Mm-hmm.
I could see that being fun.
Also, how about let's put Skull Clamp on these guys. So, okay, hi MODOK. So they get +1/-1, and whenever they die, you draw 2 cards.
Yeah.
So you really want to get them dead in combat. You don't care if they live or die. You just draw a bunch of cards and you get them back and stuff. Other good examples. This one's an alpha throwback. I've been looking for a deck that would be good for Ball Lightning for years. How about you read this one?
For 3 red, you get a 6/1 elemental with trample and haste. At the beginning of the end step, sacrifice this creature. Okay, that wouldn't work in the Ares deck because he's it's only when they die in combat. Oh, wait. So you don't want it to get to the end of the end step.
That's right. So you're also going to be playing things like Goblin Bombardment, so that your creatures can just be sacrificed for 1 damage. So you can drop a ball lightning, swing at somebody. Whether they block and kill it or they don't, they take a bunch of damage, and then you sacrifice it to Goblin Bombardment, and then it goes back to your hand.
Well, we could keep going, but I think that we have enough examples of what you could do with Ares.
Let's see. Okay, is there anything else that I need to say before just putting this guy in a place? Like, is it worth it to have this as your commander? I think that last ability kind of is.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think this is a good one.
I think it is. I'm not sure if it's as strong as Absorbing Man. That one has like way more things you can do with it, of playing less questionable cards, to hopefully make them good together. But yeah, okay, I know one other thing that I have to do, to show like the power of this. Show the dog.
The dog you couldn't remember?
The dog I can't remember. It's a dog. No, not text. Type. It's a dog. And it's a glimmer. Because this is also something that you want to have leaned into in a deck like this.
Oh, Enduring Courage.
It's a creature that when it dies, it comes back as an enchantment. So it's very, reliable in that way. But whenever another creature you control enters, it gets +2/+0 and haste until end of turn. So now Ares and all of your other creatures can enter, get a power boost, go to combat, swing. Next turn you can replay them and just do it again. Every time they get the power boost, the haste, they swing, they die, who cares?
Honestly, this sounds like it would be a really fun deck to play because you're just attacking, attacking, attacking.
Yep.
Give this to your most ADHD hyper friend.
Yeah. The one who looks at this art and is like, that's sick as fuck.
Oh dear, that might be me, because I do think that's sick as fuck.
It is. Alright, now we're moving on to Arnim Zola, Biofanatic, and he's an uncommon, so I don't know. But why don't you read what he does?
Well, for 2 into black, you get a 2/3 Scientist Villain. For 3 mana and a tap, you create a tapped 2/1 black villain creature token with Menace. Activate only if there are 2 or more creature cards in your graveyard.
So, repeatedly making creature tokens, especially 2-power creature tokens with Menace, is pretty good. But for 3 mana and tap to do it,
and they come in
is a little
tapped.
tough. They enter tapped, which is even worse. And you can only activate it if there are 2 or more creature cards in your graveyard. That's actually not that hard, but it's just, like, you didn't need more hurdles. You could get rid of a mana here. You could get rid of the activation restriction. You could get rid of the entering tapped part. All those things, any one of those things, and he'd be okay. As is, I'm torn on whether or not to put him in reject, because he's pretty dang close to it. But do you remember what movie he's in?
No.
He's in Captain America and the Winter Soldier, where he was a scientist that was a Hydra agent, and then he uploaded his brain into a computer.
Oh, I thought that was MODOK.
That is not MODOK. MODOK is a freaky guy who is mostly head, and he has a mobility chair that flies him around.
Oh, okay, never mind.
Mm-hmm. This guy, uploaded his brain to the internet in, 1945, somehow.
Now I remember. He's the guy that looks like he should be in a Fallout game.
Yes, absolutely. And he stored his brain across, 1,000 servers made of magnetic tape.
I almost feel bad for the guy, dear God, man, do you want an upgrade?
However, consider he's apparently the one who came up with the list of people that are threatening to Hydra and established the targets that Hydra was going to go after to, assassinate every useful person on the planet.
Okay, I don't feel that bad for him anymore.
Yeah, including somehow he knew about Doctor Strange before he got superpowers.
How?
Somehow Doctor Strange is on his list, on camera, canonically a year or 2 before he even has his accident where his hands get broken. So either he thought that this egotistical, really good brain surgeon would be a threat to Hydra and not a member, or he somehow knew that he would become the Sorcerer Supreme someday.
Maybe there's time shenanigans involved.
I don't think they're supposed to be. Regardless, I mean, he could be a sidekick. Maybe there's enough of a villain thing out there, but honestly, I don't think so. I think this mechanic is too clunky. He's a terrible commander. I'm going to put him down here.
And that's what you get for putting your entire soul on magnet tape.
Yep. It turns out magnet tape does degrade. So, then we go on to Atuma, Atlantean Warlord. Why don't you read this one for us?
For 2 mana and 2 blue, you get a 3/4 Merfolk Warrior Villain. Other Merfolk you control get +1/+1. Whenever one or more Merfolk you control attack a player, draw a card. And I'm guessing this guy's going to go into Sidekick because I'm pretty sure Merfolk already do the mutual aid thing a lot, and you probably want a more solid leader than this guy.
I'm actually going to say Wild Card, though probably at the bottom. This guy is good in the 99. I mean, you could even argue that he's better in the 99. But most Merfolk are just mono blue, and +1/+1 is a great thing to get out reliably, and drawing cards off of them is one of the main things you'd like to do. He doesn't quite follow the vanilla test, but he does add power to your other Merfolk in a way that makes up for it. And while you don't draw a card for each Merfolk that you attack with, you do draw a card for each player that you attack with Merfolk, so you can draw 3 cards a turn. And I'd say that those are some pretty good things to have in your commander. So, you know, he might still just be a better sidekick, though. I'm torn. I think if you open this guy in a pack and you're like, I love Merfolk, I'm going to make this your Merfolk commander, that's fine. But honestly, there are better Merfolk commanders out there, and he would be great in the 99.
Hey, cool, I was right.
You know, I think you are. Because, I mean, anytime that you're restricted to just one color...
That's already a ding.
Yeah, you need to have that color have all the tools that you need, and... for the most part, it does for Merfolk, but there are some strong green and white and black Merfolk out there across the various worlds that Merfolk have been represented. Not so much red, for whatever reason.
For obvious reasons.
Well, I guess Merfolk do tend to be at the bottom of the sea, and mountains are the highest points on Earth, on the land, so, okay.
Of course, they're also highest points in the ocean.
Yeah, if I remember right, Atuma, I think the only place that we see him in the MCU is in... Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, Black Panther 2.
Oh, dang it, I haven't seen that one yet.
Yeah, he's like a minor role. He's a supporting character to the Atlanteans.
The villain of another story.
Yeah, and even then, not a major one. I'm not even sure if he got lines in that movie, because it's not really about him. Anyway.
All right, we made it through the A's.
Yay, all right. And we're on to Baron Helmut Zemo, who you might not recognize from the MCU.
Civil
even
War.
though he was the villain, yes, in Captain America Civil War.
I'm glad they got rid of that stupid hood.
Well...
It looks bad.
The hood is iconic. I believe he features in the TV show Captain America... Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
He comes back? I thought he died.
He did not die. He went to jail.
Oh.
Or prison. And in that movie, they, need his help to infiltrate some villains in some underworld seedy place. And if I remember right, at one point, he, opens up a suitcase and he has that purple mask, and but he doesn't put it on.
I think the purple mask looks bad.
I think it's one of the few things that makes him, visually distinct, and it certainly was a iconic look in the comics, but it does look kind of dorky.
Doesn't mean it's not tacky.
All right. Well, what does he do?
Well, for 3 black, you get a 3/3 human noble villain. We are passing the vanilla test. Whenever you cast a black spell from your hand, Baron Helmut Zemo connives. And he has an ability called Boast. Exile any number of black cards from your graveyard with 15 or more black mana symbols among their mana costs. Copy those exiled cards. You may cast up to 3 of the copies without paying their mana costs.
Boy, that is weird. Oh, can you read the reminder text on Boast?
Activate only if this creature attacked this turn, and only once each turn.
Okay, so
it's a little complicated.
Let's break this down one step at a time here. First off, triple black. So this guy's super duper evil. If I remember right, in the comics, he's a lot more focused on the fact that, like, he is of a noble bloodline, and he's just, like, superior in every way.
Oh God, another
He's
one of those.
super smart, has the best schemes, is the best swordsman in the world. You know, he just thinks he's great.
Sounds like Civil War was an upgrade for him, where it's more like, dude, your carelessness killed my entire family, and now I am going to ruin your team. I'm going to ruin this team.
He's a much more interesting villain in that movie, and also accomplishes what he claims to be so much. Like, here, he's conniving, right? So he's got plans. And in Captain America Civil War, we see him successfully laying out some plans that really, tear the heroes apart.
Yeah. Sounds like sounds like this version is a poser and the movie version is the Chad.
So, in any case, a 3-mana 3/3 that grows whenever you cast a black spell from your hand. So it counts most of the ways that you would cast black spells, of course, except with his own boast ability. He doesn't want you getting extra counters from that. Although conniving, you only get the +1 counters if you discard non-land cards.
So that does give you some control over what goes into your graveyard, and then what you can use with the boast ability.
Oh yeah, because in theory you could play a deck that has 30 black spells that all cost 1 mana, and then a few that cost a bajillion mana, right?
Yeah.
And you just are casting and casting and casting in order to connive and connive and connive and get him counters and get him bigger, and then one of these days you swing with him so that you can boast. And now let me wrap my head around that ability again. You exile any number of black cards from your graveyard with 15 or more black mana symbols among their costs. So he really cares about your devotion to black, which, honestly, black is the color that cares the most about devotion to black.
Ironically.
You may have heard of good old Gary here.
Gary!
Gray Merchant of Asphodel, where it cares about your devotion to black. You've got Nykthos, which makes mana equal to your devotion of whatever color you choose, so black. You've got Erebos, a couple of Ereboses, I think. Yeah, the Bleak-Hearted or God of the Dead.
Erebos, the primordial darkness.
Yeah.
At least in Greek mythology.
And so he cares about your devotion to black, and your opponents can't gain life, and you can pay life to draw cards, and he's an indestructible creature, can be a 5/7. This one reanimates creatures and kills others, and so you can really do a lot with devotion to black stuff. And then when you're ready, you copy the exiled cards and cast up to 3 without paying their mana costs. I mean, Rise of the Dark Realms. I maybe don't want to do it in this tab, but this is often one of the better finishers in Commander, if you'd like to read that.
Whoo! For 7 mana and 2 black, you get a sorcery to put all creature cards from all graveyards onto the battlefield under your control.
Yep. So that would be a good one to connive away with Baron Helmut Zemo, and then,
Then bring back on the boast.
Exactly. So you just want to keep all the creatures in your graveyard as possible when you do that one. Or, there's a bunch of different things you can do. So, honestly,
you can do some pretty cool things with this guy.
I think this guy's super.
Yeah.
And I think he's probably better than these other two, considering that this one is just play strong black cards, and lots of them. Yeah. So I think we'll move on to another Baron in Marvel, Baron Strucker, the Hydra Overlord.
For 2 mana and a black, you get a 2/2 human villain. We are passing the vanilla test today.
No, we're not.
Oh.
Sadly.
What?
3 mana for a 2/2. It would have to be a 3/3.
Oh, right. Sorry, I had it backwards.
It's okay.
Villain spells you cast cost 1 less. Whenever another villain you control enters, you may have it connive. Do this only once each turn.
So while making your villain spells cheaper is great, he's mono black, and his other ability is not terribly repeatable, and he's a little underwhelming size wise on his own.
Yeah.
But you know what? I think he's actually a pretty great sidekick.
Yeah.
Maybe going around, well, maybe there, but
Well,
these
he
three
is.
are all actually quite good sidekicks.
Well, Hydra is a fascist organization, and fascists are deeply submissive to male authoritarians.
Yeah, honestly, as much as I mean, he's a poser basically.
Yeah.
Do you remember Avengers: Age of Ultron, where he is in it? He's at the beginning where they're infiltrating. All the Avengers are teaming up to infiltrate this base,
Yeah.
and he's the leader of the base, and he's like, "Hail Hydra! We'll never surrender. We'll fight them off to the end. No, no hostages. Fight to the death." And then he turns around to his assistant and he's like, "Okay, so we'll be preparing my escape vessel. I'm gonna be sneaking out the back while they're all fighting. All right."
Yep. Totally expected.
And he is the one who experimented on Pietro and Wanda Maximoff using the stolen Loki scepter. And initially, the canon is that he kind of made them super villains. They also, I believe, they got kind of taken over by Ultron. I'm not really sure why that happened now that I think about it.
Well, Hydra did try to take over S.H.I.E.L.D., and it did compromise a large part of it. And
Yeah.
it took them a long time to root that rot out.
Yeah. Anyway, I think that we've got them pretty much cornered here. I actually think that these are some things that you really want in your villain deck, but you want your villain deck to be black red or black blue or black red blue and not just mono black.
Don't let this guy be in charge.
No, 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 no. He's middle management at best.
Give him a little petty tyranny, and he'll be fine.
Yeah. Hey, we have a mutant!
Woo! It's Beast!
And he's green and blue.
One of the original 5 X-Men at that.
That's true. Fun fact that probably a lot of comic fans know, but not everybody watching this is going to know, is that for the first few years, he was not blue.
Or furry.
Yeah, he was
Well, he was
originally
kinda
just
hairy,
kind
but-
of like a thick lad.
Oh, yeah. He had big hands. He was very strong, very
Big
smart.
feet that were kind of like hand feet.
Yeah. He was just kind of a big guy. But then he took, he was studying mutation.
Yeah.
And he basically took an extract of himself and is like, okay, let's find out what happens when you mutate a mutant. And then blue and fuzzy.
In some lore, he's trying to find a cure for mutantness, or because he sees himself as a freak who wants to fit into society. In others, he's trying to find an enhancement or something. But regardless,
He's trying to
it's an
study
experiment.
mutation itself, either way.
Yeah, you see it in, I believe, X-Men First Class. They run that storyline in the movie. And it's pretty good. Pretty good. In any case, what does the card do?
For 3 mana and either a green or a blue, you get a 3/3 mutant scientist hero. As long as you've put one or more 1/1 counters on Beast this turn, he has flying. Whenever Beast deals combat damage to a player, draw a card.
Okay. And I don't know if I pronounced the rest of his name. That's an erudite aerialist.
Erudite Aerialist.
And aerialist would be like a gymnast who focuses on, doing stuff in the air, flips and stuff, of course.
And erudite...
erudite, isn't that someone who has a very sharp wit and has a lot of knowledge?
Yes.
I'm
And
not
the quote-
100% on that definition there, but...
And the quote they give him is, "Oh, my stars and garters."
Which, that's a thing he says in the comics a lot.
That is such a weird...
he
That
says
is such
it
an
in-
anachronistic thing for him to say. It's weird.
No, he says it in X-Men 3 as well. It is a catchphrase of his that he's known for.
I know why they give it to him, because Victorian-era literature, but oh my god.
Okay, so as a commander, he wants +1/+1 counters put on him, but he doesn't have a way of doing it. He wants to deal combat damage to a player, but he's a 4-mana 3/3 on his own.
Sidekick?
So, he could be at best a wild card, but honestly, yeah, he's probably more of a sidekick.
On average, sidekick.
I think if you're playing a blue-green deck that can reliably put counters on him every turn, then he's pretty sick, because then he's going to be a 4/4 flyer that draws you a card every turn, and that's pretty cool. I'm torn on whether or not to put him in my deck, because my commander is Marcus Mutant Mayor, and he does want to put +1/+1 counters on creatures, and he does want to draw cards, but his ability only puts +1/+1 counters on creatures that don't already have one, and only after they deal combat damage to a player. So it'll put one on him at the wrong time, after he's already hit somebody, and then never again. So he's actually a pretty bad fit in my mutant-themed deck, even though I like Beast, and I turned this into a mutant deck in preparation for some X-Men to be thrown in there. And yet, I think he's kind of a bad sidekick. He's the worst of the sidekicks, but I think if you did have a deck that could reliably put a +1 counter on a creature every turn, then he's pretty good.
I'd date him, though.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he is very well read. He's charming. He's very fit. He's got a lot of positive qualities.
He's very mild-mannered, too.
Mm-hmm. And we know that he's coming back in the MCU.
Woo!
He's seen briefly at the end of... you probably weren't going to see the movie The Marvels.
Probably not.
He's seen very briefly at the end of the movie, and he's played by Kelsey Grammer again. But just for the voice, they have him as a completely CGI creature. But he looks pretty good, and the voice works great.
All right. Next up, Black Panther Vanguard.
What they do.
For 2 mana, a green and a white, you get a 4/4 human warrior hero. Whenever another non-token hero you control enters, choose one. You can either create a 1/1 white soldier creature token, or creatures you control get 1/1 until end of turn. Wakanda forever.
I'm sorry, just like... I'm imagining a white lady walking down the street and seeing T'Challa and going like, Wakanda forever. Yeah, that's definitely how they say it. In any case, how good is this guy? I mean, obviously he doesn't really do anything on his own. He passes the vanilla test, but that's kind of boring.
But that's kind of it, and that makes it boring.
A 4-mana 4/4 is not does not a commander make. Whenever another non-token hero enters, you make a 1/1 or you give all your creatures +1/+1. I mean, making 1/1 soldiers is neat, except they aren't heroes. So what's the whole... Why do they do the thing where it triggers off of non-token heroes entering, and then it makes a token, but it's not a hero? So it's like trying to avoid a combo that it can't do.
Oh, it's all part of the sidekick supplementation program. You want to have a lot of heroes, and you want to give them a lot of sidekicks.
Boy. Okay. Creatures you control getting +1/+1 is okay, especially if you can be like, alright, and after blockers are declared, I flash in 3 heroes and then kill somebody. But, honestly, this guy... Okay.
He's not bad, but he ain't it.
Yeah, he's also going near the bottom of sidekicks, I think. Because if you're playing a hero deck in these colors, I think that's worth considering. But if you're playing 5 colors, I don't think he makes the cut.
No.
I'm hesitant to reject him for, because his numbers are still pretty good, but...
not great.
Yeah, and don't bother with him as your commander. It's going to be pretty lame. We're moving on. I mean, it's also an uncommon. A lot of these uncommons, they're intentionally a little underwhelming.
Okay. Now,
Black Widow Double Agent.
For 1 mana, a white and a black, you get a 3/2 human hero villain with Death Touch.
Ooh.
Whenever a creature you control attacks alone, it gains First Strike and Menace until end of turn.
How about you read the flavor text on this one?
Careful, I bite.
That's a little closer to how I think the character would say it. Then, Wakanda forever.
Oh god, please tell me that's not how I said it.
Kinda.
I was aiming for Wakanda forever.
Anyway, so we talked before about how these cards will often represent the same character across multiple points in their own timeline. And this is an example where Black Widow has different creature types at different times in her timeline. And this is the one where they gave her hero and villain. Because, yes, she is a double agent. She does this mostly, I think, early in her career, but also at various points throughout when they were like, was Black Widow secretly actually working against us this whole time? And then later they're like, no, she's just doing a mission where she needs people to think that she's working against us so that she can, like, infiltrate somebody again. So
Her life's taken some turns.
yeah, a lot of the time I think she's going to be a spy, but this time they chose hero villain, and that's interesting because you remember before I was talking about the creature attacking alone mechanic that you saw on Agent 13 Sharon Carter, where she's a hero. She's a hero. A lot of these characters are heroes, so you could actually have Black Widow Double Agent as the commander of a creature attacking alone deck where all the creatures are heroes, and so they get hero synergies. And then she's a 3-mana 3/2 with Death Touch, which I think is pretty worthwhile. People don't want to block Death Touchers.
No.
No. And when they attack alone, they gain First Strike and Menace. So she can apply her ability to other creatures, which is good, but on herself, First Strike and Death Touch will kill just about anything. You can kill just about anything without, like, First Strike itself or Indestructible before they can hit you back. So she wins fights.
That might put her into wild card, actually.
I think this is a great candidate for wild card. She might even be better than Ant-Man, considering that, like, Ant-Man, you have to pay extra mana into it in order to do its thing, and you get insects, and what are you going to do with those insects? Whereas, like, I can see much more of a strategy coming together. You just throw all the Exalted stuff in this deck, and you're going to have a pretty good time. So, it's not terribly powerful, but not bad. Then, of course, you get on to Black Widow's Super Spy, and this is her mythic rare version, and she is officially a spy now.
Alright, for 1 mana and a black, you get a 2/1 human spy hero with Menace.
And she's dodging lasers.
Whenever Black Widow deals combat damage to a player, that player exiles cards from the top of their library until they exile a non-land card. You may put a 1/1 counter on Black Widow. If you don't, you may cast the exiled non-land card until end of turn, and mana type of any type can be spent to cast that spell.
Interesting. Okay, so she does the whole steal a spell from someone. She doesn't do the thing where you get to cast it for free, but honestly, a 2-mana, 2-power menace creature that steals one of your opponent's spells, it makes all the sense in the world that she doesn't let you just cast it for free, but you do get around, like, color restrictions at least, so that's alright. How long do you have to cast it? Let's see. You may cast that card until end of turn. Okay, so you do have to kind of use it or lose it.
Yep.
So, it sounds like this is a deck where you're going to be wanting to attack with her consistently and keep all your mana open until after you've hit your opponent to see what you're going to get. You want to attack the player who's most likely to have a spell that you'd want to steal, and if you do see a spell you want to steal, great, and if you don't, she gets a +1/+1 counter. That actually does solve another one of the problems with a lot of decks like this, where if you don't care about the spell that you stole, then it was worthless. This one, she at least gets a +1/+1 counter, and that can make her, relatively large, relatively quick. That said,
You are still depending on what your opponents are playing.
I've said it before, and I'll say it again, that casting your opponent's spells is not a strategy.
Not a great plan.
No, to quote Tony Stark there, not a great plan. Because you don't know what you're going to get. They're going to be at cross purposes to each other. And you really want to be on a path to victory, and this doesn't really tell you what your path to victory is. So I actually do think that this is really quite good in like 60 card Magic, where everyone's spells are a little more focused on doing, like getting to that 20 damage point. You know your opponent's deck to some extent, and which decks are going to have cards that you want to steal and which you don't. I can see this being great in a sideboard, but as a commander,
No.
And you're playing a mono black deck where what are you even doing with the rest of your cards? I guess you're maybe putting like equipment or something on her, but then she's pretty easy to kill. She dies to lightning bolt even after she's pumped up a couple times. So is she a good sidekick? If you're building a hero deck that is black, you know what? She's a good sidekick to her other self, maybe. Strangely enough. A lot of the numbers are a lot more pushed on this card, but the strategy isn't as coherent, you know? I can't put her in reject. She's still got a lot of positive qualities. But I think I'm going to put her in sidekick right around here because
This just ain't your format, girl.
to me it's clear that where these three go, and to me it's clear that these two support a certain thing. I don't know where exactly she goes, but she is pretty strong. Just I don't know where she would go. Certainly not in the command zone. So we're gonna move on to Bruce Banner. Look at that face. He's like, oh,
Where's my coffee?
Gamma radiation again. God dang it, you guys. Well, what does he do?
Well, for 1 blue, you get a 1/1 human scientist hero. Very impressive. But for XX mana and a tap, you can draw X cards. Activate only as a sorcery. But here's the real thing. For 2 mana, 2 red, and 2 green, you transform Bruce Banner, activate as a sorcery. You shouldn't make me angry.
I do like that in the art you can see a little bit of green starting to come through. Clearly he's angry and he's about to tear that shirt off into
The Incredible Hulk.
That is one of the creepiest Hulk faces.
Honestly, it's perfect.
That's really leaning into the horror of like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde a little more, you know?
Oh, the pedantry I could pour out right now.
Okay. But so for well, how good is this side? What does this side do?
Well, for the aforementioned transformation cost, you get an 8/8 Gamma Berserker hero with reach and trample. His ability is enrage, and it means that whenever the Incredible Hulk is dealt damage, put a 1/1 counter on him. If he's attacking, untap him, and then there is an additional combat phase after this phase. You wouldn't like me when I'm angry!
Alright. So, one important thing about the double face cards in this set is that because they have that symbol in the top left corner that on the front is a triangle and on the back is 2 triangles, and because they have a mana cost in the top right corner on both sides, that means that you can cast Bruce Banner for just a blue, or you can cast the Incredible Hulk for 2 red, and 2 green. From your command zone, from your hand, wherever they are, it can have either mana cost, and if you bring it out early as Bruce Banner, you can pay the transform cost later to turn him into this. So you could build a deck that actually wants to use Bruce Banner for some things, but I'm not sure I see the point. Also, there are some decks where, like, it might be good to dodge certain kinds of, like, counter spells or something by casting him for 1 and then transforming him. But in most formats like Commander, he's more vulnerable sitting on the battlefield for, I don't know how many turns until you get to the 6 mana. So in Commander, you're probably just going to skip the Bruce Banner part altogether.
Sorry, Bruce.
Yeah. Gamma Berserker hero. So we are starting to see Gamma showing up on all of the Hulk-related characters. Berserker doesn't get used very often and has, I believe, exactly 1 synergy card out there, which is a card that I speculated on at one point and I don't think really worked out. It is Lavissa Cold Eyes. See, this is why I'm here for this series. The number one reason is that occasionally I remember that there's one card in Magic's history that says each creature that's a yada yada Berserker gets +2/+2 and has haste. You can play that in a Bruce Banner and the Incredible Hulk deck. And because he doesn't have haste, it's actually probably worthwhile. Yeah, so do go ahead and pick up your Levissa Cold Eyes in order to make your Bruce Banner's 1010s, sorry, your Incredible Hulk's 1010s with haste. Now then, the real star of this show, though, is that Enrage ability. If he's dealt damage, you put a +1/+1 counter on him, and if he's attacking, you untap him and then take an extra combat after this. That is nuts. So, we ideally would attack with him and then get him hit. Like, if he gets blocked, then Enrage will trigger, he'll get a counter, he'll untap, you'll get an extra combat. And now you're attacking with him as a 9/9 reach trample. And every time he's blocked, you'll do it again.
Yep, he punches harder and more often.
Honestly, this is what I expected the Incredible Hulk to be like in the movies. And then you see something like Avengers Infinity War and Thanos just like stomps him without even activating the Power Stone. And I'm like, that makes no damn sense.
Yeah. Fell victim to the Worf effect.
Yeah, because canonically, this is basically how he works, is that anytime that someone hurts him, he gets mad, and when he gets mad, he gets stronger, and that scales infinitely. Now, of course, at some point, your opponent won't keep blocking you. Probably the first time, they won't block you. But this is a very powerful strategy to dominating some players. However, we can do better than just extremely scary. We can just go straight up infinite right off the bat. The simplest way is with Caltrops. Can you read this card for us?
Okay, for 3 mana, whenever a creature attacks, Caltrops deals 1 damage to it. Oh no!
Whenever Hulk attacks, and then he's dealt 1 damage, you put a counter on him, he's attacking, so you untap him. So you actually get infinite attacks with the Incredible Hulk, and he gets bigger every time. Yep. So, Caltrops, you may note, is an $13 card. Oh, the foil 7th edition one is $174.
Jesus Christ.
These numbers are at least 5 times what they were a couple of months ago before the Incredible Hulk was spoiled. I had a copy of Caltrops that was worth like $1 or $2 and then got sold for like $10, so I made a little money on that. But mostly because I don't like playing infinite combos. But if you do, I think that this is a good bracket for Commander. And I really could not say anything less than him being super. I'm hesitant to put him in my hero because, like I said, I don't like doing infinite combats or infinite combos. But, whoo boy, he's a strong lad.
Man, that art's good.
And lastly, of course, any other deck like this, red-blue would be good enough. But you get to splash, or sorry, red-green would be good enough, but you get to splash blue. And that could open up a world of other, like,
possibilities.
Fierce Guardianship and Force of Will and counter spells and stuff to stop your opponent from stopping you. So, yeah, seems nuts.
Seriously, that art's really good.
Yeah, it's scary. And by the way, just a quick stroll here, we get alternate arts for all of these. I believe these are from the comics, like from actual comic panels. And then, these are like the profile ones. So that's pretty cool. And then, lastly, that.
Oh, wow.
These are iconic images.
Oh,
that's literally
wow.
Incredible Hulk #1. Honestly, when it comes to the style of some of these alternate arts and promos and stuff, they nailed it.
Yes.
They knocked it out of the park. If you're someone who's an old school comics fan, this is gonna be so desirable, and it's very rare, and $300 freaking dollars.
That is scratching a brain itch for me.
Keeping in mind, of course, that that's right. Canonically, the first appearance of the Hulky was gray.
Took him a while to green him up.
Yeah, like a year or so. I forget exactly, but they just wanted him to stand out on a comic book page more.
He looks so much like he came out of a black and white movie. The initial version of Frankenstein from Universal Studios specifically.
Yeah.
I know that's not a coincidence.
No. All right, so we're moving on. to what?
Almost done with the bees.
Yeah, to Bullseye Death Dealer, who you may remember from the Daredevil movie in the early 2000s.
Which I did not see.
Okay.
Because I had no interest in Daredevil until I was persuaded to start watching the show, and now I have a crush on him.
That's fair. That's the most reasonable reaction to that. So, what does he do?
Well, for 2 mana and a black or red, you get a 2/3 human assassin villain. When Bullseye enters, you may sacrifice an artifact or discard a non-land card. When you do, Bullseye deals 2 damage to any target. For 3 mana and a tap, and sacrificing an artifact or discarding a non-land card, Bullseye deals 2 damage to any target.
I don't miss. And that's true. Bullseye's superpower is that anything in his hands is a deadly weapon. He has basically perfect accuracy with any thrown weapon, and so I do like that gives him a reason to not just be like dude with gun who shoot gun good.
Yeah.
Like a lot of villains are, your Deathstroke and your Deathstrike and your, Death Shot and whatever.
Deadshot.
I don't care. They're pretty boring to me.
They're dudes with guns.
Bullseye isn't even particularly interesting, except that he could pick up like a pen, throw it across the room, and get you in the eye with it. If that
John Wick, eat your heart out.
Absolutely. If that thing thrown hard enough and at just the right spot could kill you, he will.
Mythbusters actually once did a test to see whether or not you could kill someone by throwing a playing card at them. They discovered you can cut someone, but you're probably looking at paper cut levels.
Yeah, that a skilled practitioner could cut your throat with a playing card, but it'd be such a superficial cut that you wouldn't bleed very much.
Nah, it would be more like an paper cut.
Yeah, like, ooh, ow, you really got me there. Yeah, you could not kill someone with a playing card, although,
But superpowers.
Yeah, superpowers. Now, all that said, 3 mana, 3/2, doesn't pass the vanilla test.
No.
He enters, and you get to do 2 damage to something, cool. But you do have to sacrifice an artifact or a non-land card. Or discard a non-land card. That sucks a bit. I mean, you can discard some cards with, like, Mayhem, so that you can still cast them. Or, maybe you want to fill up your graveyard for something, but he doesn't really pay you off for that. And he triggers initially just upon entering, but then you can do it again for 3 mana and tap.
And still sacrificing / discarding.
Yeah, this is just a really poor rate for 2 damage. It is nice that it's to any target, so you can kill small creatures. You can finish off a player who, you got a good hit in on, but couldn't
seal the deal.
1 life is enough to win a game of Magic, as it turns out, but 0 life. So you do need to finish people off sometimes. But honestly, I just see this as a pretty poor rate. I don't think he's even that good in villain decks. He might align somewhat with some conniving or some mayhem, but I don't think he's that worth it. Certainly not for 3 and tap and sacrifice something every time. I've been thinking about putting him as a sidekick, but honestly, he's probably going to be the top of the rejects.
Oof.
Yeah.
And now we've made it into C. Prepare to meet the captains.
Captain America, living legend.
For 1 mana, a white and a blue, you get a 3/4 human soldier hero with vigilance.
Oh no, he's uncommon.
Whenever a creature you control becomes tapped during your turn, if it's the first time that creature's been tapped this turn, untap it.
And he's a 3/4. Okay, so he's passing the vanilla test.
And he's giving out 5-hour energies to his bros.
Or like blocking for them or something, or just like giving them a big old thumbs up, and then you're like, Captain America thinks I can do it. I can do it.
A hero to his men.
Yeah. But you know what? This guy seems pretty alright.
Yeah.
He seems thoroughly okay. You know how for years, if a Marvel thing was happening, Captain America would like be there, and and that's about it. He was not the star of just about anything Marvel related until like after the first Avengers movie,
Yep.
where he's just like because a lot of people saw him as a kind of boring character. I really like what happened to him with Chris Evans, his whole arc. That he's, the guy with the strong moral compass, regardless of how like messed up the real world gets.
He was a hero before he got juiced up.
Exactly. I love that angle. I do also kind of love the hero out of time element where he's just like, oh man, I'm a man from, the 40s and I'm trying to make sense of this complicated world of the 2000s.
But he's also kind of embracing it. Like, okay, the world has moved on without me. Everybody I knew is dead. I am going to grieve, but I'm also going to try to kind of make the best of it. Like, this is actually pretty cool. I mean, how often do you get to travel to the future like that?
Yeah, he even says at one point in the movie, he's like, internet. Oh, so much stuff on there. You can find anything. And he's taking little notes of, like, what things people are recommending that he check out that he missed in the last, like, 40, 50 years or whatever.
There's this website
60
called...
years?
There's this website called Text from Superheroes where you just have these funny mock-ups of superheroes and villains and stuff texting each other. There's a funny one where Captain America says, I've also been listening to some Nirvana. I hope this Kurt Cobain kid is going to be okay. He seems really troubled.
Yeah, well,
And in
you're right.
And in the little book in the movie, one of the items he has circled in there is Nirvana.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, okay, so this guy kind of doesn't do anything by himself because, of course, he's saying whenever one of your creatures becomes tapped, you can untap it. And that's nice and all, but of course he doesn't do that. So he's helping out your fellow man. If you're building a hero deck that is blue-white, red, blue-white, green, something like that, I think he's a pretty good middle-of-the-road guy to put in the 99. But, don't make him your commander. Just don't. So then we have Captain America Super Soldier, and this is the mythic rare version of himself.
How much do you want to bet the panel I have a feeling they based this on a panel, and in the original he was punching an actual Nazi, but they didn't want to put that in the art, so they changed it to a generic bad guy.
I believe this generic bad guy does have a name and a history. I just don't remember him, and I think he's a Hydra agent, which
Close
Hydra
enough.
is the, equivalent of Nazis in this, so...
Yeah,
I
they were
think that this
definitely...
was the closest they could get away with without having a character with a swastika on a magic card.
Honestly, okay, fair enough. I'm just still gonna pretend that he's punching an actual Nazi here because that makes me happy.
He basically is.
I know.
Yeah. So.
I'm just giving it the extra oomph in my head.
Yeah. All right. Well, what does he do other than punch Nazis?
Well, for 1 mana and 2 white, you get a 3/2 human soldier hero with first strike. Captain America enters with a shield counter on him. Of course he does. If he would be
Very
dealt
good.
damage or destroyed, remove the shield counter from him instead.
Okay.
And as long as Captain America has a shield counter on him, you and other heroes you control have hexproof. Oh.
That is pretty cool.
That's
you
pretty darn
and
good.
Other heroes you control have hexproof. Except, you know what this makes him? An even better sidekick.
I'm guessing it's the mono white that's dinging him.
It's the mono white. It's also that he enters with a shield counter, and then as long as he has the shield counter on him, he does the thing. But what happens if the shield counter is actually used? Well, then he's kind of just a smallish first striking guy.
There are ways to give him shield counters, aren't there?
Not many. So
yes,
you'd
not
be
a
better
ton.
off with, I think it's Falco Spara? Falco Spara, enters with a shield counter on it. You may cast... No, this is not it. The original set to introduce shield counters was Streets of
New
Capenna. And the faction was Spara's faction, who are the
Obscura?
lawyers.
Oh, no, the brokers.
The brokers? I think that's right, yeah. So I don't remember what broker commander it is that puts shield counters on things repeatedly, but there is one, and it's white-green or white-green-blue or something. So I think that he would be great in the 99 of a deck that
That's shield
has
counter friendly.
the shield counter thing, or where maybe you proliferate the shield counters.
Ooh, that might work.
Also, I think that it's pretty good as a one-of in the 99 if you are playing a hero-themed deck, where he is just protecting the other heroes really well, and the other ones are the ones who are rumbling the most.
Your boy's running defense, not leading the charge.
Exactly. So he's a good team player here, you know? And we'll move on to Captain America Wings of Freedom.
With the other Captain America.
Sam Wilson. Oh, yeah, it says his name right there.
For 2 mana and a white, you get a 3/1 human soldier hero with flying, first strike, and ward 1.
Neat.
Whenever Captain America attacks, each other hero you control gets +X until end of turn, where X is Captain America's toughness.
And they only gave him 1 toughness. What the hell?
They should have given him a bigger butt.
If he was a 3/2, I would say he instantly goes into strong. Without that, he still might be... you know what? Okay, no, I think he's going to have to go into wild card. Because part of the definition of wild card is
Needs
that they
a little
need
help.
a little help. They need a little support. And he definitely does. Because, first off, he doesn't do much unless you've got other heroes. And even then, he doesn't do much unless he's got some bonus toughness. Granted, a 3 mana, 3 power flying first strike ward 1 is nothing to scoff at, but it's just not a whole strategy on its own. But the rest of the strategy obviously needs to be other heroes and buffing them, so what would be one of the easiest things to do with this guy? What's one of the easiest ways of buffing toughness, specifically? Oh, I've got an idea. How about Captain America's shield? Ta-da!
Yep, that would do it.
Gives him 8 more toughness and vigilance. And when he attacks, you tap a creature. Oh, and the shield's indestructible. Costs 2 to cast and 2 to equip. Holy jeez.
Give him the shield and he'll probably be fine.
Yeah, so I think this is a deck where you legitimately do want to be playing your... what is it called? It's 2 mana white creature. They're a core. I'm gonna find them real quick. I don't remember the name because other people play them a lot more than I do. Whoop, did I scroll up on accident? Yes, I did. Maybe that'll be good enough. I'll know when I see them. Why are there so many? There we go, Stoneforge Mystic, which tutors for an equipment.
Huh.
I don't normally play tutors in my decks, but this and like Steel Shaper's Gift to go find an equipment, or I think it's Open the Armory to go find an aura or equipment. Honestly, I would not fault you if you want to play him as the commander to play all of those things so that you can just go get that frickin' shield, because you're not going to do better than that. Like, the next best thing I can think of is frickin' why am I struggling to remember the name? Oh, Slagworm Armor. There's not many Slagworm cards. Come on. There we go. 1 to cast, 3 to equip, gives +0/+6. Honestly, it's not even that good of a card, but it just gives a whole lot of toughness, and then all your heroes get +7/+7 whenever he attacks. And then just pack your deck with a lot of these things. Captain America, Agent Phil Coulson, some of these. And then that's a deck.
All right, who's next?
Who's next is Captain Marvel. Okay, there she is with the short hair. Captain Marvel, Earth's Protector.
For 3 mana, 2 white, you get a 5/4 human Kree hero with flash, flying, and lifelink. She has a power-up of 5 and 2 white to put a 1/1 counter and an indestructible counter on her.
Okay, so...
A power-up that actually sticks around, all right.
Yeah, in this case, indestructible counter is pretty huge.
Indestructible. Sorry.
Honestly, what she reminds me of is Zatalpa, aka 1-800 Are You Flappin'? Because Captain Marvel costs 5 to get out and 7 if you want to do the power-up thing. So if you're spending like upwards of this much mana, you could just play Zatalpa as your commander. And you'll have flying and indestructible and well, you won't have Flash or Lifelink, but you'll have, a couple of the same abilities. Flash on a commander, I mean, you're not going to surprise anybody, but you still can kind of give like pseudo haste, or you can like pop in as a blocker randomly. Although to do that, you need to have at least 5 mana open in mono white.
It's less of a giveaway and more of a threat.
Yeah. But then what else are you going to do, with 5+ mana open in mono white? That's kind of weird. So, but, also she picks up equipment really good because lifelink, it's weird because she doesn't have, like, a whole strategy to her. She's a little...
She's just kind of really powerful on her own, but doesn't really synergize.
Yeah, like, white struggles to get that much mana reliably unless you happen to drop Smothering Tithe, and there's only one Smothering Tithe. So, I don't know about her. I think I want to put her in wild card as well. And maybe around here.
You could make her work if you really, really, really wanted to.
And she needs some things like what to do with the other 99 cards in the deck.
Yes.
You could, in theory, play a deck that is 99 planes and her, and the deck could win a game or two. Like, she's just indestructible flying lifelink if you put enough mana into her, and then flash as a little bonus, and sometimes just hitting your opponent for 6 flying lifelink every turn and being indestructible is enough. I'm going to recommend one other card for her, and that is going to be Ring of Thune.
Oh, this one again.
Yeah, I like Ring of Thune. Gives Vigilance, which is great on a battle cruiser kind of creature like Captain Marvel. So you can attack with... You can put all your eggs in that basket, attack with her, and still keep her open as a blocker for the next couple of turns. And every turn you'll put a +1/+1 counter on her, making her a little bigger. And it's a really, reasonable cost. So, yeah, I like Ring of Thune on her. And I think we'll move on.
All right.
To the last captain...
Captain Marvel, Spaceborne. For 4 mana, for 4 mana and a white, you get a 4/4 Kree Soldier Hero with flying and vigilance. This person has cosmic awareness. As long as an opponent has cast a spell this turn, you may cast spells as though they had flash.
Now that's actually super interesting.
Oh, did you cast a spell? I can cast stuff as though it had flash.
Yeah, I mean, your opponents are going to cast spells, so you're going to get stuff...
It'd be a bit weird if they didn't.
Yeah, I mean, so you're going to get stuff at flash speed. So this is a weird, like, mono-white flash deck. You could build, like, mono-white I untap, or I drop surprise blockers all the time deck. Okay, I think I'm actually going to put this guy into wild card.
Interesting possibilities here.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen a deck like this in white. 5 mana for a 4/4 with flying and vigilance is not crazy. Once again, even if you just do, like, put all your stuff on Captain Marvel, having flying and vigilance is solid. But, I mean, you can drop, like, I don't know, what would be a good example of a, like, big white creature. I mean, we saw Zatalpa a minute ago. Hell, you could play the other Captain Marvel in the 99 of the Uncommon Ones deck, and it might be better off there.
White Marvel deck!
But just being able to cast anything as though it had flash. What's, oh god, you could play, Vow of, I think it's Loyalty? No? Vow of what? Vow of...
Duty?
Is it not... Okay, what about Loyalty? Promise of Loyalty, that's the one. You could do this one at instant speed. You want to read this one for us?
Let's see. For 4 and a white, each player puts a vow counter on a creature they control and sacrifices the rest. Each of those creatures can't attack you or planeswalkers you control for as long as it has the vow counter on it.
Yep. So you could have Captain Marvel as your commander. Someone casts a spell and then goes to combat. And sometime in the middle of combat, whenever you feel like it, you can blow up every creature except each person gets to keep one, and that one can never attack you again. So blow up whole armies and stop what's remaining from hurting you specifically. So you can do board wipes at instant speed, but ideally you do board wipes that keep him alive. So just remember, though, that he allows you to do things that are not instants as instants, and that's the best power. And I think that, this is a kind of good stopping point. We've been through the A's, the B's, and the C's
half the
through
C's.
Captain. And I think we'll make this the end of our first video on this subject. And we'll catch you soon to pick up with Cloak and Dagger.
All right. Have fun, everyone.
Take care.
Bye-bye.